This is the Recovery Lab.
Here we dive deep into the struggles, victories, and hope that stem from recovery.
No shame, no judgment, just truth, grace, and inspiration.
Let's walk this road together.
All right. Welcome back to Recovery Lab. This is episode 110. I'm David Sugg.
I'm Brynn Knox.
I'm Daniel Anderson.
And we are here this week with Christie O'Bryant. I'm very lucky to have you on. Just pumped to hear your story and hear what you got to talk about. I got to tell you before we start, I came in here, dragged my ass into the rooms 2010, and I just wasn't going for happy, bright, and bubbly. And I met you, and you were just OG, real, and just like, you serious? You want to do this thing? And it was like, yeah, I do. And I responded to that. I responded to somebody who was just like, not going to sugarcoat it, not try to make me feel you're going to love on me, but just kind of, in a hit me in the shoulder kind of way. And I needed that. And so I really appreciate, I owe not just people like you, but I owe you. And I really am. I'm really grateful to be able to sit here and talk today about what you're about. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for being you. So.
Man, that's awesome. Every now and then somebody will tell me something like that, and I'm like, yeah, I don't even remember saying that. But people were like that for me. And, they told me straight up, and I needed it too. I mean, I come from buying dope in the projects in New Orleans. I didn't need anybody to sugarcoat anything for me. And they didn't. I mean, you couldn't penetrate me with a 2x4. I was the same way.
You're from New Orleans?
I'm not from New Orleans. I grew up in Tylertown.
Okay.
A little small town.
Yeah.
And Dry County.
I got pulled over there one time.
I've been to jail in Tylertown. I spent like 2 days in jail, believe it or not. It's the only thing I know about it. It's got a very small, crappy jail.
Yeah. Very, very small. Grew up just, Dry County.
Yeah.
I grew up on the Bogachita River. The weekends we floated the river, and a whole bunch of us would buy beer. And it was, it was what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I realize now, looking back, I drink different than my friends. And I didn't realize that at the time. Yeah.
Speaking of Bogachita, when I went to treatment in 2015, and I met some people from California, and I was telling them something, and I mentioned Bogachita, and they were like, "Are you talking English? Like, what are you saying? Boga?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like trying to spell it out for them and stuff. Good old Mississippi.
Man, that was the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you knew immediately you didn't drink like other people, right? So tell me about those experiences.
So I think, now all this is learned after the fact, right? So looking back, I can remember times where, I had a little group of people, and we would always get together, and it was always me initiating, hey, let's go get some beer. Hey, let's go do this. Hey, let's go do that. And a lot of them was like, yeah, I'm good. No, I'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, let's do that. Like I always wanted to change the way I feel at an early age.
How old?
I started drinking at 13, 14, riding back roads.
Was it pretty much wide open right at 14?
Not quiet, no. And it progressed.
Yeah.
As I got in junior high, I started experiencing, smoking a little weed, doing a little acid, ecstasy, back when it was when it first really hit the market. When Rehipanols was really Rehipanols,
Yeah.
Wait, you're doing ecstasy in junior high?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So not right off the bat did it go full, but it didn't take long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I lived with my mom. So, I still was at bay on what I did. But as soon as I graduated, I got out of there. I moved to Baton Rouge. And when I moved to Baton Rouge, I felt there was a sense of freedom from my mom.
Yeah.
Because, there was always that you don't want to disappoint mom. And that's when my life really started to change,
Do you have alcoholism or addiction in your family anywhere?
Yeah. Yeah, my dad was an alcoholic. He died when I was like 4 years old. But it's all on my dad's side of the family.
Okay. So your mom didn't struggle with that at all.
No.
So I'm sure she's had a whole experience
Yes.
with your experience.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, with my dad, yes. There was story, and I didn't know he was an alcoholic. I mean, I was 4 or 5 when he died.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother's 10 years older, and he he got his ass beat.
Yeah.
And he was really abusive, and he beat my mom too. And I can remember my mom telling me a story. I had went to treatment at some point, and I never told her. And when I got back, she could tell I looked different, complexion, skin color. And so I had a conversation with her, and I was like, I've been in treatment. And I said, that's where I've been for 30 days. She goes, well, you called me. And I was like, yeah, I just lied where I was at. And she said, your dad was like that. And I had no idea.
Oh, wow.
I sat in treatment the very first time, listening to them going, hey, it's hereditary. Hey, it's this and this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I have this, because I don't have this in my family.
That's wild.
But when I got out, she shared that with me, and she told me, she's like, he was really abusive. And he would beat on her and stuff. And I'll never forget the day she told me, she said, I had already realized that if I didn't get out of here, it was going to end bad. Mm-hmm. And she said, I knew once you were born and you got in school, I needed to leave, because either he was going to kill me or I was going to kill him.
Wow.
And then she backed it up, the same sentence, and said, but he was a good man.
Whew. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Toxic. Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Rewind a little. That's crazy that you didn't find out till after you went to treatment. Tell me about the couple months before you went to treatment, what your life looked like, and then what made you make that decision.
Which time? The very, very first time?
Yeah.
So I was living in Baton Rouge. When I graduated high school, I moved to Baton Rouge. I have an aunt that lives there, and my uncle owned a business. And so she said, hey, come live with me, get out of Tollertown, and you can stay with us for a little while and then eventually save your money and get on out, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, they openly drink. They come home after work, drink, and I'm like, man, this is
Louisiana.
This is life here, man. So I could easily come home, have a cocktail with them, no big deal, and it was fine for a while. And then I ended up moving out, and I had some friends that I went to high school with that lived there, and they'd been living there a little longer, and they've already dabbled in different things. And so I started just experimenting with different things, and so I became a IV drug user.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for years, and so right up until that first time I went to treatment, my aunt come knocking on the door. I'd lost my job pretty much, and she come knocking on the door going, hey, you need to get help. And so I was like, okay, but I can't lose my job. She said, it's fine, we'll take care of that, you just need to go get help. And I was like, all right, well, what am I gonna do about Mom? She said, you're not gonna tell her. And I'm like, she goes, she'll never understand. But then I had a dad that was an alcoholic. And so, this is my mom's side of the family, which is still dysfunctional family, but my dad's side of the family is the alcoholics,
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't tell her. And I mean, I had lost everything. I mean, I basically lived in an apartment with maybe a sofa that I hadn't pawned.
It was too big to move.
It was too big.
Yeah.
It was too big to move. Pretty much, yeah.
I had the same sofa. I had the same one at one point.
Yeah. I mean, I was strung out.
Yeah.
I was strung out. I couldn't stop. And she came to me and set it up. And I went to Red River in Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
in Alexander. I went there twice.
Was it 30-dayer?
30 days, came back, went to treatment. I mean, I went to treatment, came back, went to work, and
What did you get out of that 30 days that first time?
Man,
if anything?
Let me think about that. That's a good question that I hadn't really thought about.
Was 30 days enough for you?
Oh, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And I sat in that treatment center. I do remember this. I sat in that treatment center going, I could never see not smoking pot again. How do you do that? Like, that's, not necessarily did I want to shoot dope or do anything like that, but like, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
And so when I got out, I didn't drink for a while. When I say a while, I'd say probably about 3 or 4 months. But about a month later, I'm smoking weed again, but I'm smoking so much weed. And I would freak out like, oh my God, it's almost over. So, I mean, I still have that obsession,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to treatment again, same treatment center, Red River. Went
Another
there
30 days.
another 30 days. In and out patients in between that. And then I finally was like, all right, I'll go back inpatient again. And sometimes it was like, I needed a break.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I needed to get away. And then I went back. And then after that, I stayed in Alexander for a while, and I think I stayed sober a week. And then back to the same thing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready,
Right.
really.
So tell me about when you were ready.
So that would be the last treatment center. You know, I thought about this. I was in a meeting the other day, and I was thinking about this, how God was setting this up way before I even got to rehab. You know, I can remember, so I was in New Orleans by then. I went from Baton Rouge, and I thought that New Orleans would be different, you know. But
Yeah, I hear people love to go there to get sober.
Yeah, huge sober town. Pre-sober. Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of things to do. You can stay up all night and go do this and go do this. Absolutely. But there's a part of that town that you don't want to meet, right?
Uh-huh.
But I really thought that it would be different.
Yeah.
Like us all, right? Like I really and truly thought that. When I lived there, you know, that was it. My life was over. By then, it was just it was over. And
How old were you then?
I got sober when I was 28, and that was 22 years ago. So I'm not good in math.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah,
Be. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good
it's
enough.
been a while,
Yeah.
right? So I can remember, and I tell this story often because this was a point in my life where I was like, oh, I got to do something different. I decided I'd get on methadone, okay? And I'm not knocking anybody that can get on methadone that wants to get sober and they work a program and then get off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not me, you know, and that wasn't a lot of people at that clinic neither.
Right.
And I'll never forget the day I walked in the clinic and it was packed. And something went wrong with the system or something. And everybody was just waiting in line. And this one man walked in and he said, I've been coming here for 30 years. I could run this place better than they can do this. And I was like, you've been coming here for 30 years? This is insane. And so I had decided not long after that, I was like, man, I've got to do something different. And so I got off methadone. And that was a nightmare.
I was going to ask. Yeah.
That was a nightmare. I can remember vividly like it was yesterday, sitting in my living room at 2 and 3 in the morning because I've got insomnia, the TV melting because I'm hallucinating, and my back is breaking into and my skin is crawling. And so it would take everything I had not to get high. And every now and then I would maybe eat a Valium or eat a pain pill just to ease that pain.
Wow.
And then once I got I remember sitting at the bus station waiting on the bus. And you know, in New Orleans, the sidewalks are not smooth. You've got tree roots growing everywhere, right? And I remember one day standing there looking down and I was like, man, my back's hurting so bad. I wish I could lay on them tree roots. That might feel better. Because that's how I felt.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
It sounds like my withdrawal from heroin.
Absolutely.
Like
it was
it
the same
sounds
thing.
exactly like that. The insomnia, how bad it just hurt.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Absolutely. It was at some point I would tie tube socks around my calf muscles because I felt like my skin was crawling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's where it all started right there,
Mhm.
was that moment. And once I got over that hump, I saw how God started placing things in my life. Now, I got arrested. I'm not saying, like, be careful what you pray for, because that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what needed to happen. And so I got arrested. I ran from New Orleans, came back to Mississippi because I was running from the law. And one day, me and this girl decided we were going to go back to Baton Rouge because we wanted to get high. And we we were stoned out of our minds, and we're on the interstate. And she's like, I'm going to get off here and we're going to go the back roads. I said, absolutely not. Stay on the interstate. Do not get off. She goes, oh, it's fine. I do it all the time. And I'm like, bad idea. And she did. And we got pulled over. But it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, went to their county jail, and he sentenced me to treatment, which I was cool with that. That was a walk in the park, but you know, all those things were supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I got in treatment, and I think for me, I think I just feared of who I was going to become. I really wanted to be sober at that point, because I think after all that, I was really exhausted.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I want to be sober, but I'm not going to tell nobody, because I mean, I can't do that. I can't tell nobody that. One, because I may not stay sober, and then two, I'm scared of like who I'm going to be.
What do you mean?
Well, I only know how to shoot, dope, and drink.
Right.
So I get sober. What's going to happen? Who's Christie? My identity. I feel like I didn't see that it was going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that fear of the unknown. I think for me, yeah. And eventually, you know, I just kind of fell in line with what people told me to do, and then life started getting better. But I look back and I'm like, man, God, you know, he put those pieces together for me and got me where I am. And I was like, thank God that happened. I wouldn't be alive today. You know, toward the end, I'm grasping for air. You know, I was ODing. There's no way I'd be alive today in today's time if I was still using, or if I was to relapse. I fear that I would die.
Tell me more about the people in your life at the time that made that difference, that told you the things to do that you
In treatment.
did, and then it was in treatment.
Yeah, it was in treatment. I can remember, you know, when you first come into treatment and everybody's already been there for almost 30 days, everybody's got God.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody's got God. And I just didn't have any direction.
Mhm.
And so they're telling me to pray and do all these little things that, you know, they teach you. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really know how to do that. And I was like, well, what do I do? And so this one lady, and I cannot remember her name, she would write down these little prayers on a piece of paper. And she said, just commit to saying them. And so I stuck them all over my room. And I said them every time I saw them. And life kind of started changing for me. The feeling of wanting something different started to happen. And for the longest time, I was mad because I never got that last high. She got off the interstate, and I was so mad about it.
Mm.
And every day my counselor would ask me, do you want to get high? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I still do. And then she would ask me again. And then one day I was like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I think I don't. No, I don't want to. And it was kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
So it was just those little things.
Yeah.
Those little high, that last high, that was probably going to be a hot shot, and you were going to be done.
Maybe so.
You know what I mean? Like, done.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is super cool, though, to be able to look in real time, like, wow, I'm seeing changes. Because, I mean, we have to see, you know, it's progress, not perfection, but we have to see progress. That's what keeps us moving. I'm pumped that you were able to get that so early on, you know, just like, wow, like in there, in the moment, like, yeah, I wanted to get high yesterday, and today I don't. Like something, and be aware of that, because I might have had those moments before, but I just wasn't even paying enough attention. I wasn't even paying attention. And whether I either wasn't being asked the right questions, or I just wasn't hearing them. But I mean, I just wasn't. I didn't care, because I was like you, adolescent alcoholic addict, been to 15 treatment centers, lots of jails, and I just wasn't getting it until something changed. It was like, wait a minute. Like you said, I realized I want something different. Like, I don't want to die in a trap house. I don't want to I don't want a life sentence. I want to do something different. And I think that's the miracle. Like, because I was doing the same stuff. I really wasn't doing anything different. It's like, but God, like you said, like, put enough puzzle pieces in play to make it all. It kind of went together. Yeah.
There was this one lady, and I can't remember her name, Miss Mary. That was her name. She was the house lady.
Were you at the Village?
No, I was at Harbor House.
Okay.
And Miss Mary was the one that stayed there. She was like our tech that slept overnight, right?
Yeah.
So I will never forget her. And I woke up one morning. I'd probably been there a couple days, maybe a week, if tops. And it was like the coffee pot and all that stuff was kind of in the center, and her room was like right there. And she woke up one morning, and I'm like half awake, just looking around, like, here I am again. And she opened the door and she said, "Don't worry. You're going to help somebody one day.
Wow.
You just wait." I was like, I don't know what she's talking about, but okay, cool.
Where the fuck's the coffee at? Yeah.
You know, and then you share stuff like
Yeah.
you did, you
Yeah.
know? And so I was like, okay, now I see. Don't leave till the miracle happens. Now I get that.
Mm.
But those things didn't happen for me all the time. Those moments of clarity going, oh, I see God working. But every now and then it did happen. And I think that was important for me because I needed to know Big Daddy got me.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to take care of me. And so little things would pop off and I would go, yeah, I'm not doing that. Like something's happening, you know, and then I'm going to stay around a little longer because I want to know what's going to happen next,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then eventually you just like, okay, I get it. It makes sense now. Yeah. It's some cool shit.
It really is.
Was
Mhm.
Jackson the first place you actually started getting like long-term free world sobriety?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't stay sober anywhere else. Ever since I've come to treatment, got out of treatment, I've been sober here.
That was 2002, 3
Yeah,
in Jackson.
2002.
Okay.
June the 8th, 2002. So
Wow.
I'll have 23 years if I make it till next month.
Wow.
Yana's always been that kind of been your stomping ground? You done
Yeah.
some other stuff?
I started off in Central
Yeah.
because I lived not on North Congress Street, and
Yeah.
that's back when it was on the corner at that church of State Street. I don't know what that other street was, but it was in a church
Yeah.
right behind it. Do you
The
remember
one they just
that?
tore down, the big beauty.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
that's
Beauty.
where it was at, and I could walk there.
Yeah.
Now, when I got out of treatment, at first I thought that I questioned if this was really my journey because when I got out of treatment, I went to go live with a friend that was in treatment. It was two girls, and I went and lived with them. And one day they came and picked me up from work, and it was my birthday. And she was like, "Hey, it's your birthday." And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Well, I've got a surprise for you if you're down." And I'm like, "Okay, what?" And she goes, "Do you want to get high?" And I was like, "Not today,
No. Yeah.
Satan.
Yeah.
Don't want to do it
Back.
today."
Yeah.
Right? And so she'd been getting high. They
Mm.
they were using. It's like, all right, I got to find another place to live. So then I had another friend that lived not far from Central, and I went and I stayed with her. And I was like, "Man, I need a place to live." She's like, "No, come on." And I think it was 2 days later, she came home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, been smoking crack all night. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Mm-mm.
And I was like, "Man, this cannot be happening to me." And I said, I said, "Let me borrow your car. I need to go get a hotel room. I can't stay here." And she let me borrow your car, and I went and got a hotel room. And the next morning I got up, and because I worked at Two Sisters, I would walk that street. I kind of knew what was going on, right? This man had a little apartment for rent, and I knocked on his door early in the morning. I said, "Look, I know you don't know me, and I don't know you, but I just got out of rehab, and people are dropping off like flies. I need a place to live."
Girl. Sell it. Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I got a little apartment for rent." And I said, "Okay, cool. Can I rent it?" He goes, "Yeah." And he gave me, and I got the money and gave it to him. He gave me a futon frame and a mattress. I put it in the living room. It's kind of like a little shotgun, right? I found a dresser on the side of the road, and I got that dresser to put my clothes in. I didn't have much.
Mhm.
I mean, I just got out of treatment. And I found a TV on the side of the road where you turned the knob, and you had to stick your finger in the hole because the knob was tore out, so you had to turn it on that way. And that was it. I had created my own safe haven home right there. That was it. And I finally felt safe. But there for a minute, I was like, maybe I am supposed to get high. I started questioning that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That gives me like chills because I can just see you like fighting for your life in those moments. And like, Well, first of all, one, RIP Two Sisters. Where did you go? Best restaurant. Second, I bet that helps you as a sponsor because I hear so many girls that do fall into that because it's such an easy excuse.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's so easy. Be like, well, my roommate was doing that, so I did it. And so I bet that
Mhm.
experience like helps you so much. Be like, actually, you don't have to. This is what I did.
Mhm.
You know?
It was all around me. So the girl that lived across the street from me I was in treatment with her. And so this is a funny, well, it's not a funny story, but it's kind of crazy. Her and I was in treatment together, and we went to secondary together. She'd created this relationship with one of the guys in treatment, right? And then he went to secondary. So they're talking the whole time. They do weekend passes together. She gets pregnant, right? They rented a place across the street from me. She worked at Two Sisters too. He was on house arrest, and he would go to meetings and go to work and then come back, and she would just walk to work, and we would meet up together. We hung out. I was in treatment with her. And then one day I noticed something looked different. And a lot of times I would ask her, I was like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Man, yes, I'm just sick, I'm exhausted. I feel like this pregnancy's just wiping me out." And she started using. And at that moment, I learned that I was powerless not only on alcohol and drugs, but people too. And that was kind of hard for me because her and I went through the whole thing together. And she got pregnant, and then she ended up relapsing. It was rough on me, and so I had to do a little work around that. But 6 months of sobriety, I think I was the last one standing.
Wow.
When they do that little thing in treatment where they're like, "Hey, everybody raise your hand." Now everybody put it down and one person leave it up. That's who's going to stay sober.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was real.
What was some of the work that you did around how that affected you?
I didn't understand it. So I didn't even have I had 6 months of sobriety. And I think I know we can't stay sober for other people or anything like that. I'm aware of that. But I think that I watched her through that whole pregnancy, and I think that's what upset me the most, that I really and truly saw that, hey, it doesn't matter if you're pregnant, if you have kids. It's not picking and choosing. Like, it's the devil, and it got her. And I think I just wanted it for her so bad, and it affected me,
Yeah.
And I remember calling my not sponsor. It was my counselor up from treatment, and I was just like, "Dude, why'd she do this?" She goes, "You're powerless." And I was like, "That's what that means." She said, "Absolutely."
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like being around those sorts of situations can a lot of times give people an alibi or reason to pick up, because like my roommate's doing it, all my friends are doing it, why not? But it seemed like it had the exact opposite. Like it was like, I mean, it was more of a wake up call every time it happened to you than instead of like, oh, maybe, I mean, that right there is a testament of God's strength and power. Cause I couldn't do that. I mean, I couldn't do it even when I wanted to stay sober and didn't want to use. Somebody put something in front of me. I mean, it was in my body before I even thought about it. I didn't even know what it was. Like, oh, that was 20 Rohypnols. Like, good night. Like not staying up. So for that to happen to you, I'm just that's the strength of God. That's amazing. It's amazing to see it.
And that was one of those moments where he showed up. And so when I got that apartment and I lived by myself, the apartment was set up on one side. It was a duplex, but there was 2 apartments on my side. And my neighbor, like, you walked on the porch and you would walk in my apartment, and then you had right next door was a door, and it was my neighbor. And I cannot remember that man's name to save my life. I have no idea who he is. But he was an alcoholic for sure. And he would leave and go to Martin's or that Blues joint that was on North Congress Street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
They closed that down.
It was, oh my gosh, what was
You'll
it?
think about
I used
it.
to go there all the time. I used to go see Bobby Rush.
He would go there. The guy would come home, sometimes the law would bring him home at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. That man asked me my name every single time he met me.
Wow.
He could not remember who I was. And so I watched him die.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another, God put this man in my life to say, hey, this is what you're going to be like if you don't get your shit together, right? So he would ask me my name every time he saw me. And I would tell him every time I would tell him my name. Then he would
Groundhog Day over here.
every time, and then he would sleep all day, and then he would leave at 4 in the morning. It's like a vampire, right? And the law would bring him home. He's got scratches all over his face. He just looks beat up. And then it started happening where he started losing his mind. He would come home, get up during the day, walk around outside, and we would catch him knocking on car doors. Nobody's in the car, and he's talking to nobody. And so my landlord, you know, that guy's been there for years, and so my landlord knew him, and so we were like, man, what's going on? And he's like, man, he's losing it. So he didn't really have much family, and they would call the cops. The cops would come get him. He would go into, I guess, the psych ward or wherever he would go for a couple of days. He'd dry out, and he'd come back. Then he'd do it again. And one day, I go to lunch, and I come home, and the fire department, the ambulance, and everybody was in front of my place. And I'm like, oh, gosh, what's happened? The people across the street saw smoke coming out of the top of the apartment and called 911. He had went in and nodded out and dropped a cigarette, and it caught on fire. And he made it to the door. He was crawling to the door, and he died of smoke ventilation.
Oh, no.
I cannot remember
Brutal,
that
man.
guy's name. That was a huge impact on my life there of like, I watched what alcoholism does to someone right in front of me. Yeah.
Ooh, that's enough to keep you sober.
Yeah.
And to have the awareness to recognize it too. It's not just like, I don't know, something's wrong with that dude. Let's bang up, you know, but really
Yeah.
be like, no, I'm sitting here sober and I'm seeing it. Like
Mhm.
this is what's happening. This is what they're talking about.
Yes.
There's a poem I read at the Old Timers Roundup last year called Drunks, and it's just like 50 different, you know, examples. You know, we drowned, we were stomped under horse hooves, we burned ourselves up alive, just like over and over these examples of how we die this alcoholic death. And it's like there's hundreds, thousands of different ways that it happens. It's not I drank too much, fell asleep and didn't wake up. I mean, it's horrible, horrific stuff. It's car wrecks, it's suicides, catching ourselves on fire. It's being inches from the doorway and dying of smoke. You know, I mean, it's just so sad, so sad. And all because really the very start of it and the end of it is like, I was powerless. That's it. Like if I just tapped into a power greater than me, I could have avoided all this. We just never could see it. Man.
I can't remember that guy's name. I'm sure people from Jackson, if you tell that story, I mean, like,
People know him.
they would know him.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to bars. He was well known. I mean, he was frail, skinny. I mean, he, you know,
yeah,
what we used to look like, probably.
exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah.
quit making fun of me. Man, that's wild. David, did you have any people around you where you were like, okay, that's exactly what I don't want to be, and sort of like, not scare you straight, but like give you inspiration in like the opposite way of like, okay, I'm inspired to never be like this.
That happened in prison.
Yeah.
That's where it was like I was starting to see it. It was like, whoa, this is what I'm doing. Breaking into people's sheds, writing fake prescriptions, doing this kind of stuff. This is where I'm going to end up for the rest of my life. And I did years there. So, I mean, like it was enough to, but seeing these guys that were in there for like 20, 30, 40 years that were never getting out, it was just like, oh my, and still trying to get high and still trying to run game, still running cons, getting people's social security numbers, trying to get checks just to catch a buzz. It was just like, this is insane.
It's kind of like the realization I had at the methadone clinic. Like,
I've been here 30 years. I can run this better. And it's like 30 years. Like, dude,
I will not be this
it's
person.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have that moment like, I don't belong here. Like, I got to do something different. And there's another part of like, yeah, you do belong here. You earned it. You earned the seat. It's like, oh man. Post that experience and getting back out, I mean, I worked so hard to stay away from anything. I mean, I didn't frequent bars, I didn't hang out with anybody. And no, at that point, all my examples of what I needed to do were people who were doing the deal. People like Christie
Mm-hmm.
that were showing up in good days, bad days, whatever. We had a friend, Bill, who lost his wife. I think Tiffany was his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he was up in the rooms. But I remember seeing like the Northeast group at that time was a very different group than it is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing you, if it was part of that, but like there were people all around him all the time supporting, and it was just like, those are the examples that I had. Like I saw people go through life altering just catastrophes and seeing people like suit up and show up and help them stay sober. And like, so at a certain point, the negative examples were gone. It was all just for me positive after that. It really has been.
My first sponsor told me in the very beginning, when there was one day I was like, yeah, I don't want to go to that meeting. She said, that's the most selfish thing you can ever do. She said, you don't go for yourself. Someone's watching you. And David just said that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting about you saying that is when I asked them a few days ago, I'm like, all right, who do we have next? And they said Christie, and I think they've mentioned like that you went to Yana or something like that. And I'm like, I know exactly who you're talking about. Out of all the meetings I've been to in this area, aside from like my home group where I usually go, I remember you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what you said, and I don't know what day it was. I remember you, and I remember thinking, I want to keep doing this because I want what she has. I like the way you talk to people. I like the way you shared. I like the way that you made it. You like included the big book in your share, and it wasn't just like, here's Christie's advice for the world. Like, I don't know. So it's kind of crazy that y'all say that, because you literally, like, you had an impact on me that day, and that's why I knew exactly who you were when they said Christie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
You're like,
Yeah, I
man,
don't remember that
must
stuff.
be good.
I can remember sitting in Yana, so I was terrified, kind of like you. I didn't want to use again. And I'm like, man, what do I do? So I surrounded myself. I created my own home,
Mm-hmm.
and I surrounded myself in meetings. And I could just tell myself, just surround yourself with sober people, just all the time. Just do that. And that's just what I did. And I will never. And then I was like, okay, how would I relapse? Okay, well, I'd probably stop going to meetings, because that's what I hear all the time. I will never forget, and I don't remember the guy's name. And I don't know if you were around when he died. He was a younger guy. And I was sitting in a meeting one day, and he said, I was in Yana. I can remember the couch. I can remember where he was at. And he said, if I go out again, I will die. If I go out again, I will die. And he did. He went out again, probably a couple months after that, and he died.
Wow.
And I was like, man, this is real. And people came in like that. And then, we would have people that's been sober for 20, 30 years that they died.
Yeah.
They relapsed and died. And so I was terrified. And so I just told myself in the beginning, I was like, whatever I do, just don't stop going to meetings. Just don't stop. And so I would always go.
What is your home group?
Northeast is my home group. But I haven't been going there. I've been going to Unlimited.
Oh, I've been to that one.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to change it up.
Yeah.
I get complacent.
Unlimited is at what, 5:15?
5:30.
5:30.
Tuesday and Thursday. And then Saturday.
Yeah. Isn't Saturday at a different location?
It's at the Boy Scout hut.
Okay.
And it's an open meeting. So you get some Al-Anon folks that come in, which is always cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go back to that one too, because I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was good. It's been good for me. It's been really good for me for the past year. And so I've kind of been digging that right now.
Do you dip your toe back in Yana ever, or are you just sticking with AA
I do
Unlimited right now?
sometimes.
Yeah.
I do sometimes.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right.
What was your first sponsor relationship like? Did you hit off with somebody first time and have a great run at it? Did you have to do some sponsor shopping? What was that?
Good question.
My first sponsor, her name was Diane, and I'm not sure where she's at now. And she went to Central, and she kind of just took me under her wing. And I don't really remember how that relationship developed in the very, very beginning, but she was real spiritual, and I needed that.
Mm-hmm.
She was real spiritual, and she kind of just gave me directions on what I should do every day. And she would, give me rides to meet. I didn't have a car, so she'd give me rides, and it was a good relationship. It's exactly what I needed. And then I think she moved. Something happened there. She left, her and her husband, and then I got another sponsor. And she'd been sober a long time, and then, God put her exactly, in my life when I needed her. And she helped me get to another part of my sobriety that needed work. At some point she's like, yeah, you need to tend to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got sober, that 5-year mark, and then she moved, and then I've got my current sponsor now, and I'm sorry, I thought that was off. I remember sitting in a meeting, and everybody's like, oh, just listen to people, and they share, and that's what you want, that's who you need to pick. And that happened with my last sponsor. And she said something, and I just started crying. And I was like, that's what they're talking about. And so she's still my sponsor today.
5 years.
5-year mark, my life changed completely. My sobriety changed completely. Yes.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those milestones where I thought I kind of had it. I thought I had something. Year 2 and 3, it was like I was pretty proud of myself, and then like have this thing at like year 5 where I'm just like feel like a chicken with his head cut. Like just don't know what the hell's going on. And even like year 10, even year, I mean, just on and on. There's been periods where it's just like I feel like it's a snow globe, and everything just got shook up. Like everything had kind of settled, it had stopped, and then just something. And I hadn't changed anything. My program really hadn't changed. Maybe I'd stopped going to meetings, or maybe I'd changed jobs or something, but nothing that dramatic. It was just like, it still just feel all just like, what the hell is going on here? And it was time for another awakening. It was time for me to like double down, not back up, not say this isn't working, but like, no, I've got to get re-involved. I've got to start doing more work, find a sponsee, go double up on meetings. And it's worked every time. Every time I've gotten that discombobulated, just like, holy shit, what's going on? And I have reinserted myself in the program, like really do it. I've come out growth. I've come out better for it. But there's been some times in my sobriety where it felt like day one, just like, is this legit? Like, what am I doing? Especially in my walk with God. Just like, is he for real? Because like, this is messed up. What people dying, what's happening in the world, government, whatever. It's like, this can't be. This can't be. And still be able to stay sober through it by doubling down, continue to do it.
I recently reworked the steps right around Christmas with a lady from Unlimited. And she'd been sober, golly, man, like a long time, like longer than we've been alive. Like she's one of those. And I was like, I need to get in on that.
Yeah.
And so I asked her to, and she's not my sponsor, but I asked her if she would take me through the book, and she did. And she took me through the book, and we met every Tuesday. And then Christmas come, and y'all know I work for UPS, so it was a little crazy. So we would stop some, and then we would pick back up. And it was everything I needed. That where I got to take a look at some relationships with my mom that I hadn't looked at. She's in a nursing home, and that whole relationship's really difficult. And after it was over, I was like, man, I needed that. I needed to feel whole again, because I think for a while I'd sat in meetings and I was like, yeah, something doesn't feel right. I'm showing up, but something doesn't feel right. So it was, I got off the swivel a little bit. So yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
To get back into it.
The thing is still the thing. It's not for people who just go to meetings, people who are doing the stuff. And I've been there. I've been just going to meetings, and I pick people up, take them to meetings, do whatever. Might have a few guys, but with just something halfway in and halfway just not there.
Right.
It's like, But I tell people that's the one thing that I've done right, is I kept coming back. I just kept coming. I kept listening, kept coming back. So, well, kudos to you for doing that. Tell me, how I know you've had some painful stuff happen in your sobriety, and to not have the crutch of a chemical or drug. The 12 steps are there and the fellowship's there, but tell me about, what was it like learning how to deal with pain, deal with emotional and physical pain
Oh my gosh.
with some different without that, because especially with opiate, I mean, that's like, I mean, the morphine, the hurt just goes, it's like it immediately addresses the pain. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with that stuff, is because it was just, I could just melt,
Mm-hmm.
Didn't necessarily go through all that high stuff that you go through with other drugs, but those opiates particularly. So dealing with pain for me in recovery has been really, really hard,
Mm-hmm.
because I just don't tolerate it well. I really don't. Tell me, how have you handled some of that stuff?
Physical pain, is that what you're saying?
I
Or
think
just
more emotional. I mean, 'cause
emotional?
physical is an easy one to name, because we
Right.
can I got some physical pain, but there was stuff that really hurts, just that emotional shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember going through some breakups where I got fired from a job that I really loved. Like, it was my first year and a half of sobriety. That job was my identity. And the dude told me to get the hell out and never come back. And it was just like, it was worse than a breakup. And like, I just drug my ass up to Yana that night. Like, I got
Mhm.
fired at 7:30. I walked up to the 8 o'clock in my chef's whites and was just like sat down, just shell shocked, just like, I don't know what to do. I just got fired. And they're just like, well, just keep coming back, get some coffee. And I don't know that I felt better immediately, but it worked. I didn't drink,
Yeah.
I didn't drug, and I didn't blow the dude's house up, So it was like, but yeah, I mean, more whatever kind of pain you want to talk about. But I mean, for me, it's been emotional. It's been the hardest. stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is emotional. I'll talk about that 5-year mark. So I remember in treatment, my counselor telling me, whatever you do, the first year, don't pick up. And she just looked at me and she said, just don't drink, don't use whatever, just do whatever you have to, but don't drink. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I hurt a lot of people. I created victims, I changed the way I feel through people. And I did that the first year, and then the second year, and then the third year, and then the fourth year, and then here we are at the 5th year. And by then, I realized, I was like, man, this ain't how sober people are supposed to act. And it stopped working. It stopped covering up those feelings that I was having, like using. And so that's when the second sponsor said, yeah, you need to tend to some other issues you have. And so I went to Bridge to Recovery. And I had Denise. And, God love her to death. And she can gracefully create you a new one without it feeling that way, but it is happening, right? But she really made, I took a look at some things. And after that was over, when I'd worked with her, I had to cut off my stash. And by that, I mean people. So, I feel a little depressed today. Well, I'm gonna text David and maybe probably wouldn't be a male. We all know that, right? But I'm gonna text, and he's gonna kind of feed me something that's gonna change the way I feel, and he's gonna lift me up. So I relied on other people to help boost me, right? And I had to stop doing that. And I will never forget, it was probably harder than coming off heroin at some point. That's how it felt. I was working at UPS, and I'd never felt so torn and just out of sorts and physical pain.
Yeah.
It was horrible. I went to work, and my boss at the time, he knew I was in recovery, and I just said, hey, man, I've got some stuff going on, and I need to take some time off, because if not, I'm going to get high. And so he told everybody I had the flu, and I took a week off of work. And I can remember going to Central sometimes, talking in meetings, saying, I want to drink. And I don't really care what the outcome is, because I hurt so bad. And I would have people check on me, and I'd keep coming back, and I'd keep coming back. And I just made it through that to finally where I was like, okay, I'm going to be okay. And then here's another God moment, right? I had to have hernia surgery. So I'm a go person. I had hernia surgery, and God's like, all right, you got to recover. So just slow down. And I couldn't go. I couldn't do nothing. I'm basically just healing now, right? I was sitting outside doing something. I don't even really remember. And all of a sudden, this wave come over me. And it was an inner body experience. Like I was coming out, and it was like, just let go. And I was like, in the world? And I was like, just let go. And I lost so much weight at that moment that at that moment I said, I'm going to be okay. And my life, my sobriety, everything changed at that moment. It was incredible. And when you tell normal people that, they're like, yeah, that's kind of strange. But I can share that with y'all, and y'all are like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. But after that, David, I don't like to sit in that. It's that physical body hurt of pain. It brings up too much stuff. Now, if I need to wallow in it for a day or two, I'll do that. But I think I know the outcome is going to be really rewarding, and I get excited about that. And so I'm like, okay, I need to work on this, because I don't like to feel different. I like to stay on that beam the whole time. Yeah. And so when I get off kiltered, I'm like, oh crap. But my sponsor tells me pain's motivator. Yeah. So I take my ass to a meeting, and that's really that's where I learn about myself still to this day, is at meetings. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going through stuff, and I had a sponsor that would always tell me, is like, you're going to find a solution. You're going to find a solution. It's either going to be a spiritual one or a chemical one, but you're not just going to continue on with this pain. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And I was just like, no, I just ride it out. And he was like, no, then your unconscious is just going to supply it. And if your unconscious supplies it, it's probably going to be using. It's probably going to be doing something you don't want to do. For me, my big thing when I wasn't using the first few years of sobriety was poker. I spent days at the poker table. It was actually a safe place for me. I could just sit there, zone out. I didn't drink, didn't drug. I could just sit there. It was just a place that I could go, but it was super unhealthy at the same time. I mean, it was better than hanging out in a crack house, but it was, and that's what he was talking about. I was like, if those things continue to be your solution, like, you're not going to get any better. You're going to get worse. And it took me, you say 5, 6, 7 years to really start pulling my head out and to really see that for what it was. That's one thing I encourage the guys now to do, is like, find a spiritual solution. That, for me, the easiest thing is, get to a meeting and find somebody to help. Picking up trash, emptying ashtrays, talking to people, hanging out in the parking lot for 10 or 15 minutes after the meeting can literally change lives. Like, not just make you feel better for 5 or, it can literally change your perspective and change an entire life just hanging out and talking to some people.
But that's hard to do in early sobriety.
It is. But if you got that pain, like you're talking about, that motivator, and I got addicted to the solution, it was like, wow, I feel great. Like, there's a difference between the pain being removed and actually feeling good. Yeah. Because like the pain just to stop is one thing, but like I started to feel good again. Like, this is fun. I mean, you were talking about the futon, little shotgun apartment. I had that same experience on Taylor Street behind Salamukis. I mean, like, I bought a house for, like, dude just gave it to me because the city was about to tear it down. It had caught on fire. It was horrible. I mean, I didn't even have a TV. I had just an aquarium. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we, just like watch the fish go by. But like, I look back on that. That was some of the happiest times of my life. And when guys would come by, we would do book studies. We'd smoke cigarette. We might play cards. A lot of cards. But just looking back on it, it was so much fun. And it wasn't pain just stopping. There was real joy. Yeah. There was real, like, this is awesome. This is great. And we were all sober together, and we all meant it. And that's like, golly, now it's just like work, and amazing vacations. But but yeah, those early years of sobriety were a lot. Looking back, they were a lot of fun for me.
I had a lot of fun too.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun. A lot of cool people that I got sober with. I mean, they're not here now. They've went back and done different things or relapsed. But yeah. We'd stay up late, drink coffee all the time, drink Red Bull.
Argue about the big book?
Yeah, and I do that now, and I'm like, I got to go to bed, man. It's 10 o'clock. Y'all, I'm exhausted. Yeah.
So both of y'all have such, like, long-term sobriety. What do y'all do if you do start feeling, like, burnout on it? Like, what do you do? What do you tell yourself? Who do you talk to? What do they say?
I can't really say I get burnt out on sobriety today.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I'm burnt out, it's because of something else.
Yeah.
Do I always feel like I want to participate? No. I don't. I've worked all day. I don't want to go sit in a meeting, but I just still show up, and that was the reasons why we talked about it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really feel like that. Like I think I've got to the point where I kind of really enjoy going. And if I don't, I have to tell myself, nah, I'm gonna go for somebody else. But
Yeah.
I enjoy seeing people now. And I love to learn about myself. And so meetings does that for me, is to discover something new,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. What about you, David?
I mean, I'm still curious. I'm still
Yeah.
really interested. Like, what are people going through? Who's new? Get the dirt on what's happening. I like it. So I get burnt out on sometimes doing the things I got to do on a daily basis. It gets a little like redundant. But as far as going to meetings sobriety is the best thing that ever happened in my life. Like,
Yeah.
there's no question in my mind. Like, is this what I want to be doing with my time? Like, this is it. This is it. If I could find more of a way to invest in it more, I would. That's what I want to do Recovery Lab for. It's what I want to do more AA for, is because if I can invest more in my recovery, like it's everything. It's amazing. So when I get burnt out, sometimes it's from doing too much service work. Maybe I got a sponsee that's wearing me out or something. That's just start set boundaries. That's one of the toughest things for me to do, is saying no. But learn how to be like, nope, can't do that. Not going to be the time for me. How about you?
Well, I don't have as long as y'all got. But I do feel I've been going through like phases where it's like I'll do the deal and I'll be doing really good. And then I'll be like, all right, well, I'm healed. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I beat this thing.
Yeah.
Like I start thinking that things aren't as such big requirements. And I start looking at them as like, oh, just an option if I'm bored. And that's such like a dangerous place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to like take actions to beat that, because I know if I just like keep basing all my actions on like my feelings, like that's not how I got sober. And so that's not how I'm going to like stay sober. You know what I mean? I think right now I struggle, like I'm between sponsors right now, and that's been a struggle for me of feeling like an imposter in the recovery community, because that's like one of the biggest things you're supposed to do is have that sponsor, and not having that right now is like my biggest struggle. And so I've just really been like praying for God to like put the right person in my life for me to have that person. And so we'll see how that goes.
I mean, I'm glad I wasn't graded on recovery.
No kidding. Yeah.
I would have failed. I mean, I've went through, there's been so many times and periods of my sobriety where, I didn't I would stop going to meetings, maybe for a month, and then I would be like, all right, I need to go to a meeting. And then, or my wife would be, baby, when's the last time you've been to a meeting? I'm like, all right, she's not in recovery. So if she's saying it, I need to take my butt to a meeting.
Yeah.
But I think what happens to me is that I become an unpleasant person. I start to feel kind of angry inside, and I think I'm really more short-tempered a little bit, or I'm snappy. I don't like that. And so I'm like, okay, I know my sweet spot, and I try to just maintain that just for the happiness. But yeah, if I got graded on it, I'd be like, yeah, you fail. So it's happened all throughout sobriety like that.
Yeah. I feel like that snappy person that you just talked about.
Yeah.
And like things that are like, I've been getting quick to anger more, and I have like some resentment going on, and then like things are stealing my peace that wouldn't have stolen my peace before, stuff like that.
Absolutely. That's what happens to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Restless, irritable, and discontent.
Mm-hmm.
I get that way.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, I've kind of built up a life in Jackson where there's just so many people that all they know is sober David. That's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
All my friends are sober, or they're business people. But I don't have anybody kind of bringing me down or dangling something in front of my face. But when people call, they're normally checking on me and invite me to go do something recovery related. It's just like, and thank God that wall, that group has been built where I've got that. And so every time I find myself kind of stepping out or not, because I've been in those years. I've gone. It was probably an 18-month period where I might have gone to maybe a meeting a month. Just barely, just barely. But now, I mean, and then I'd have friends that would call like, "Hey, man, what's up? What's going on? Can you go do this? Can you speak here? Can you go there? Can you pick this guy up?" So, I mean, I know that the program doesn't always, just because you go doesn't make guarantee you're going to stay sober. But if you get involved with a group and you get involved with a social scene that is about sobriety, they will pull us back in. And so that's why I just like to say, surround yourself with winners. I try to do that. I try to hang out with people that are about the deal, and they've showed up for me when I hadn't had the strength. They really have.
Yeah. Yeah, people on the streets don't do that.
They do not. No.
Mm-mm.
That's some powerful stuff, man.
I can remember, like, at Unlimited, there's this one guy, like, I think I missed a week. You know, when I say a week, there's only 2 a week, but I think it was 2 weeks that I missed because of work. It was just things got kind of crazy. And he was like, man, he texted me, "Hey, I hadn't seen you." So, yeah, just like that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, man, I've been busy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking on me.
Or you get a call from a stranger. It's like, somebody said, "I need to talk to you, that you were the one for me." And it's just like, all right. I mean, like, what do you say to that? Like, you got like, all right, well, let's get coffee and let's see see if it's a fit. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And I mean, that happens. And yeah, getting calls from friends. Or the worst call is like, "Hey, so-and-so passed. You know, one of our members is gone and we've got to go do the thing." And whether it's a memorial or go, just those things, just kind of those heartstrings get tugged. And you're like, all right, this is my thing. I got to get back in there. And that's just from about going to meetings and being in the scene, just being in there. You got that dark suit? They told us when we were going to get sober, go get you a dark suit. You got that dark suit?
Yep.
Yeah. I think I've seen you at a few farewells. That's one of the hardest things for me in recovery is like seeing that circle of life go
Did
all
you
the
know
way.
Hugh T?
Yeah.
He helped me get sober. Yeah. He'd come pick me up. He bought me a coffee pot. When I first got sober, he bought me a coffee pot.
That's a good gift.
Yeah, man. I mean, he used to come in Two Sisters Kitchen all the time and we would talk, and he bought me a coffee pot and he would say, "Hey, come at this time." I was like, "Well, the meet don't start till this time." He's like, "No, just come on. I got something for you." Yeah. And he'd make me make coffee.
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is what you wanted me to do?" He goes, "Yeah, absolutely."
Yeah,
and I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. It kind of gave me a purpose, I felt like. And so, that dude had been sober, golly, longer than all of us has been alive, I feel like. And then he passed. That was kind of rough, too.
Yeah.
But he died sober, though.
Yeah.
Nice.
He died sober.
There's a men's meeting that meets Monday nights at Yana downstairs. I've been going from early on sobriety. But, 15 years ago, the group that was in there is a completely different group there is now. But there were guys in there with 20, 25 years of sobriety. And you fast forward, they're pretty much have all died, or they just don't go to meetings anymore. And it's been hard. It's been real hard because, like, the people that were like, wow, what they're saying is amazing. Like, they're spiritual gurus. They're amazing. They've gone through business development. They've gone through family breakups. They've gone through regime changes, whatever, and stayed sober. And they're just, everything they're saying is amazing. And then you pick your head up years later, and they're all gone. And you're like, oh, I'm that old timer now. It's like, it feels like I'm missing something, but B, there's a lot of pressure. And it's just, I don't know. I'm excited to be in that story, but at the same time, it gives me pause. It's like, wow. We're like, where are all the old timers at? They're like, y'all are it. We need y'all to keep coming back.
I feel like I should have listened more back then.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I miss those guys. Billy W.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'll cry if you start talking about him.
Yeah.
Him and Marianne together.
Yeah.
Dude, they took me under their wing. I hung out with people like them. Absolutely. We'd go to Archipaw. We went to Ikipaw together. Like, that's the people right there. Yeah.
Marianne, I hadn't seen you. Where you been? Yeah. Come on. Yeah. We need a chairperson for Wednesday. Yeah, they'd call.
Yeah.
Me and Billy went on a few 12-step calls together, man. Those are some of the highlights of he would call me back, come on, we're going to do this. And Billy and I weren't that tight compared to like how Sean, like some of the other guys, how tight they were.
Yeah,
but
you didn't have to be with Billy.
You didn't have to be. Yeah. He's like, come on, I need somebody to come on. I'm not going alone. I'm like, oh, okay. Go to a hospital, go to CMC, wherever. Do a 12-step call. He's like, just tell them the story. Just tell them what happened. Ain't got to louse it up. Just tell them what happened. Like, okay. And to be given that opportunity from a stalwart like Billy, you know,
Mhm.
like I get to go on a 12-step call with you, and you're going to let me in the room and see how it goes. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss him.
Yeah.
Did you know Billy?
Mm-mm.
Oh man.
No, I got sober in Austin and moved back here a couple years ago.
I knew that. I heard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You shared that on one episode.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't get a chance to meet him. He
Austin's
sounds
a cool
awesome,
city.
though. It is. Take me back.
Yeah, that's a nice city.
Yeah.
Are you from there?
No. No, I'm from Florida and Alabama and here. Like around that area.
Yeah.
But I lived there for a few years and I've been actively trying to get my husband to move back for the last couple of years. But we're no, conversations like this and seeing like the beauty of the recovery here, like from you guys, just like makes me really, really like inspired and makes me see like the beauty that is here and like the people that I want to be involved with and surround myself with.
Mhm.
I don't know. Today's been really cool.
Yeah,
really
this is
enjoyed it.
good. I had to go to a funeral yesterday. My aunt died on my dad's side, you know, and I took my mom. My mom's in a nursing home, and she, you know, her life changed, and so did mine. And so it's nowhere in the big book does it tell you that one day you're going to become the parent and they become the child. Y'all left that part out, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, it's been hard, but she died and I took my mom yesterday, and it was rewarding for sure to do that for her. And sometimes I have to look at that as service work. And I think that, you know, those are things that I couldn't do if I wasn't sober
For sure.
at all,
Mm-mm.
you know. And she told me the other day, I called her and I told her that, you know, Aunt Shirley died. And then I called her back later and let her know when the service was going to be. And when I called her, I said, hey, she goes, oh, I was just about to call you. And I said, really? Well, what were you going to say? I love you. And I was like, okay, I think you said that 3 years ago in 5 months. You might have told me that. And I've been holding on to it ever since then. So I finally got it again.
Wow.
So it's those little moments like that, and then, you know, yesterday taking her and stuff. But like, man, thank God for the program, because I couldn't have done nothing like that before.
Amen, sister.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, did I want to do it? No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I showed up.
Yeah, you did.
I showed up. It was nice.
That's awesome.
Super cool to see. Super glad to have you on. Like I said, you've been a lighthouse for me over the years. To get to watch you do the good, the bad, the ugly, suiting up, showing up. I mean, that's what it takes. And it's a reminder that if nothing else, I can just do that. I can just suit up, show up, put my hand out, make coffee, and that can be a win. That can be a W. So thank you for doing what you do and coming on today. Can't wait to have you on again. Will you come back on again?
Absolutely.
This has been really good.
man.
It's really
It
nice
has.
to talk to a kindred spirit and just get to
Yeah.
rap. But thanks.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I was stoked when you reached out, you know.
Yeah.
I watched the YouTubes and
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, these guys are doing some good stuff.
Well,
And I'm learning some good stuff. You know, like I said, I learn about myself. And so I'm like, oh yeah, cool.
this is a place where you get a dynamic that's not allowed or it's not happening in certain places. I mean, we are able
Yeah.
to do something, kind of the two-way 12-step thing, the two-way conversation, like crosstalk, you know, but real conversation, which is exciting. But it's because people like you coming on and getting honest and open and
Yeah.
getting vulnerable, you know, in public. So thank you for doing that. That's a big deal.
No, I
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
you guys having me.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right.
I think that's about it.
That's a wrap.